Today we are presenting Bion as a business opportunity for the day. Bion is first organization in Asia to offer wellness solutions through both DNA and gut microbiome testing. They conduct tests that can be taken from the comfort of your home to prevent and manage chronic diseases with free support through one-on-one counseling and world-class data security. To discuss more on this, I have Harish Vasudevan, Vice President Marketing of Bion, who is carrying more than 7 years of experience in digital marketing. A very warm welcome to you, Harish, and thank you for joining us. I would request Harish to give us an overview into your profile and what are we going to offer through this insightful session. Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Alka. Thanks for the opportunity and for everybody having tuned into the session. I'll give a quick background about myself. I am currently based out of Dubai and I'm handling the global marketing for Bione out of here for India and Dubai as well, as we have multiple offices. And my background goes back in marketing for the last 10 years almost, and 7 years of core digital marketing experience. So I've been in multiple B2B and B2C firms before, gone from probably scratch to $1 billion plus of valuation. So I'm sort of bringing that experience into Bione to make Bione the next unicorn in the Indian biotech healthcare space. And yeah, this is one of the paths towards being there.
Great, great. So let's move to the next slide to have more understanding about Bion as a company. So Harish, again, I would request you to talk about the Bion and
Sure.
its offering.
Sure. Almost 2 years back, Bione was founded in Bangalore with a sole motive of making people live a longer, wellness focused, longevity focused, disease free life. And what we know from a perspective of healthcare in India is that if we are unwell, sometimes we go to a doctor, right? If we get sick, then we take a medication or we visit centers and clinics. So the idea where Bione would come in differently is the concept of preventive healthcare. So preventive healthcare is what can you do right now when you're well to prevent a certain chronic condition or a certain disease from happening later, right? So that is the primary vision and mission of Bione. And we are led by Dr. Surendra Chikara, who has more than 20 years of experience in the field of genetics, having led genetic and gene sequencing for multiple India's leading clinical brands as well. So he has, come in with an objective to help people get better using genetics and microbiome testing. And we also have some really internationally acclaimed advisors like Dr. George Church and Dr. Raymond McCauley, who are very well known personalities in the field of genetic testing globally, right? And we have two sort of Stargate products, which is our DNA test kit and the microbiome test kit. And we'll see more in the presentation.
Yes. So I can see a team, which consists of 82 people with 100 years of experience in the science, experiment and experiences. So would you like to add anything which give us more insight about the people who have been associating and working with Bion as an organization?
Right, for sure. So, already adding to what I had mentioned previously, one thing to notice in this slide is we take a lot of pride in the fact of putting science first in the foreground. So, which is why we have, very well-known doctors, nutritionists, dietitians in our panel, and we consider them a very, very part of our core team because we want to present personalized solutions here using science and the medical strength of our team as a background. So which is what you can see, people who won medals and people who are best at what they are doing are a part of this core team. And yeah.
Yeah. So we heard from Harish about how did Bion start, and then what are the things you do. What is the portfolio of the product and the services we have? So I would request in the coming slide to talk more about the product and the services what we have. Over to you again, Harish.
Yeah, sure. So, one of the main products that we have and where we base our IP upon is genetic testing. So, in India, whenever you look at DNA testing, the general consensus is that when somebody talks about DNA testing, the immediate understanding people have is it is used by police, it is used by different forms of criminal, investigation and activities. But in reality, over the last 5 years, 5 to 7 years, what has been a new space that is such a big new upcoming space that's been growing in triple digits is the use of genetic testing in the
Yes.
consumer world. And what that means, so because we are basically made up of genes, right? We are made up of genes, and these genes carry a lot of information hereditarily, genetically. We've gotten a lot of information passed on from our previous generations to our generation and to the next. So it is just about understanding what the genes tell about us. It is about understanding how our body is structured in some of the ways. Now, of course, when we look at our life right now, how we live our everyday life, our practices, our diet, sleep, our food, nutrition, these all contribute a lot towards either a healthy lifestyle or an unhealthy lifestyle. But
Yes.
having said that, there are certain parameters in the genes, there are certain gene markers that, whether we liked it or not, right from us being a baby to us growing old, these markers don't change. The genetics are imprinted in us. So what can we learn about about that gene there, about that genetic pattern, so that we can take some extra steps to prevent certain conditions from coming up. Like a good example that happens in mostly a everyday household in India is the talk about diabetes, right? Like, oh, my dad was diabetic, my mom or my grandmother was diabetic, so yes, I do carry a risk of getting diabetes. This is just one very common example. But what if you could identify around 200 plus parameters this way that has been passed over hereditary from our generations to our generation?
Yes.
This is exactly what our DNA test does. It is basically taking a little bit of a saliva sample from your end, and then it goes back to the lab, and then genetic sequencing happens on that, and then we are able to give a report which says, you are vulnerable, you are susceptible to these conditions, or you're not susceptible or not vulnerable to these conditions, everything looks okay.
Yes.
Or there are certain orange flags or red flags that you might probably want to take more action on. Things like how much sleep do you need, personalized, what is your muscle strength, what are some deficiencies that you have, right? Like, when you go to the standard lab, you might have to run so many different tests to understand vitamin D, immunity deficiencies, hormonal deficiencies. So what if you could get an indication of all of this in one test? This is basically
Correct.
our DNA product, and we are looking at very higher level diseases like chronic conditions, hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular conditions, asthma, and the likes. We are also looking at more deficiencies, muscle strength, sleep patterns. Yeah, so we report more than 300 plus parameters in
Yeah.
our DNA test report. And yeah, so this is the basic of our DNA test.
Sure, sure, sure. So let's go to the next slide to understand more about the other testing which is being provided by ON. So
Right.
microbiome testing. So would you like to add to it to give us better understanding?
Definitely. So the word microbiome has been one of the most popularly, gaining, search gaining words in the last few years in the world. That's
Right.
because this is a more relatively newer word, but it's getting more prominence now. Microbiome or microbiota means bacteria and viruses. That's all they mean. So when we talk about gut microbiome, gut meaning the stomach or the intestinal area of digestion. So gut microbiome is nothing but a profile or a snapshot of what are the good and the bad bacteria and the viruses that live inside your stomach, because these bacteria play the biggest role in your everyday life, because they digest food, they accommodate all the ingredients, and then they give you energy, they give you nutrition, or they don't give you nutrition depending upon what food and nutrition practices that you have. So gut microbiome test basically identifies this. And there has been more and more research in the last few years from very prestigious institutions like Harvard and Stanford, that almost microbiome or gut is like the second brain. So the
Mhm.
gut can make you feel happy, the gut can make you feel sad, it can make you feel sick. So people sometimes don't realize that their gut is very intrinsically connected to them, right? So that is why in biome we want to take the gut profile, basically analyze your stool sample and tell you that, hey, listen, based on your specific gut profile, these are foods that you need to eat more, these are foods that you need to avoid. Like, one of the trends that has grown in the last 5 to 7 years is this concept of superfoods. Like, for example, some people will say quinoa is now can replace rice, quinoa is like super
Yes.
good, it's good for everyone. But that is not always the case. One item that might be good for you might not be good for somebody else. It might digest for you, it might not digest for somebody else, right? So this test basically tells you, it's such a health hack to tell you that these are foods that you need to eat more, these are foods that you can reduce, and these are foods that you need to avoid, because it doesn't go with your gut, right?
Sure.
So yeah, this is the basics of the microbiome test.
Sure, sure. So related to this, we have other details in terms of services and product provided by Bion. Is
Correct.
diet and nutrition counseling, right? So after you have given good understanding about how your stomach behave, how should we do it, what are the food we eat, what are the things we support our gut, so what are the things has to be a part of the diet and nutrition counseling, what you provide, what you counsel in terms of the betterment of the life for the patient or the customer. So would you like to add anything in this regard?
Yes. So, one of the biggest USPs or strengths of Bion as a company and the concept of DNA and microbiome testing is that we are able to understand you better, right? Like, if you right now go to the internet, or if you right now approach a service online and you look at a diet chart or you look at supplements to buy, it is the same for everyone. Okay, fruits are good, fiber is
Yeah,
good, protein is
yeah.
needed. So this is more, it is true, these are good by the framework of what is good and what is bad. But what proteins, what fruits are good for you, the personalization is what we bring in with the test that we have. So we are able to provide you more personalized supplements also. Like,
Yes.
for example, people know by right now in India, people are getting aware that if you eat the probiotic tablet, you can have a better digestion in the stomach. But not all probiotics is needed for everyone. So there are certain compositions of tablet probiotics that might be very good for you, that might work very well for you, and certain compositions that might not work well for you, it might be counterproductive. So we avoid all that, we avoid everything generic. So if we are telling you that you need this immunity, this probiotic tablet, and this supplement, there is science in the report behind why you would need that, right?
Correct,
And that
correct.
is our biggest USP, and that is why we are very much in the correct playground to go into the supplements category.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Harish, for giving us an overview of the services and the product what you provide. And
Yes.
adding to this, we will have other things. To the customer, one message: please stay connected to us. Any question if you have in your mind, please put the question so that we can address it. Since we are speaking about the different, the options and opportunity to get associated with Bion as a franchisee, please put your question so that we can address. Yes, Harish, since we speak about healthcare, right, in terms of what we can do for, considering the health and the nutrition and other factor of the human body, what is the market size? What is the potential you look for when I consider healthcare as industry?
Right. So it is to no one's surprise that healthcare is one of the biggest industries in the world, let alone a
True.
market like India, which is more driven by the generic formulas than the West, where it is more driven by certain key bigger major players. So India is a much more open generic medicine market. And what that means is that the opportunity of growth for healthcare in India is tremendous. Even though we are already growing, it is gonna be a really huge, massive growth. But what is very interesting to observe here is in the growth of the healthcare space, with our recent experience with events like COVID, right? People are more and more understanding the importance of preventive and customized healthcare. We are already seeing so much about, what is the skincare products that is good for
Yeah.
me? What is
Yeah.
the food that's good for me? So, because, for example, even a simple thing like the coronavirus doesn't behave the same in two bodies, right? It's very different behavior. And that is why the personalization is very important. And like as you can see in the screen, just the healthcare market in itself in India is going to easily cross around 400 billion very soon. And we expect the personalized healthcare space to have almost a triple digit growth. It's already growing triple digit if you look at the Stanford research that's available. But it is even expected to boom faster as people understand the novelty of these sort of
Yes.
preventive healthcare concepts.
That you can come to know from 11 billion in 2016 to 372 billion in
Yeah.
2022, which itself is massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a huge potential, as rightly said by Harish, to get associated, to take an opportunity to invest as a business, right? So, needless to say, the data and statistics are in front of you, considering the healthcare as an industry. Let's move to the next slide to have more understanding in terms of what we are offering financially. Harish, the models, why, I mean, the main agenda of discussing about today's webinar is the franchisee model. We talked about the industry and the strength and the potential, right? So I would like to hear about the different models and what are we offering. And yes, over to you again.
Yeah, okay. I think we had a small glitch. My screen was stagnant. So I can just talk on the slide,
Okay.
right? Yeah, okay, cool.
Yes.
So yeah, one of the advantages that we have with our franchising model is there is no need to have a larger space and bigger investment into the assets. It can be a very asset light model. Why?
Yes.
Because the proprietary genetic and the microbiome testing instruments, which are really costly in crores, they are available for us back in the lab. So all we need to do is just transport the sample from our franchisee location to the lab, which means that the location itself can be very modularly constructed, and a smaller space is more than enough. And that is why you can see in the slide that even a smaller investment of 10 to 15 lakhs could mean bigger returns 6 months down the line, a year down the line, year and a half down the line, right? And the franchisee fee obviously comes with its own list of benefits, obviously starting with usage of the brand rights. And we have a really strong digital marketing team which is going to be behind this, pushing, creating awareness, and that also comes along with it. And we are investing a lot of money into the research and development of the next ancillary products for Bione, which means there's more opportunities to cross sell and upsell as we start getting more customers, right? Yeah, so this is the basics of the franchising model as we stand.
Sure, sure. So related to this, we are going to speak about, yes, the predicted timeline, from year 2022 to 2025, right? So what is the thing which we are going to cover, say, in next 10 years? What is the
Sure.
projected ROI we look for?
Sure, sure. So, one thing that we made sure that we did over the later end of 2021 to whole of 2022 is we did not try to rush into the market with any half done product or a half tested solution. We took our time to basically battle test, quality test, get the testimonials, get the support of not just people, of doctors, of clinics, clinicians, of different range of our customers who could be there. So we basically battle tested it over 2022, and we set up a very strong infrastructure, which is very much backed by science and stronger teams on top of it. But that allows us going into 2023 to be more aggressive in terms of how we can reach out and expand. So we even with conservative projections, we do expect to see a revenue of more than 250% in year one, and this is
Sure.
conservative and not even putting in the multiples of a typical biotech healthcare startups growth, right? And this scaling up, as I mentioned in one of the previous slides, this scaling up coupled with the fact that we are putting more into the research and development and creating
Mm.
ancillary products. Basically what we want to create here is a health ecosystem, right?
Mm.
We don't want to go to the market and sell one bottle
Yeah.
or one syringe. We want to go to the market with the ecosystem of development. A lot of people might realize that over the last few years, the concept of wellness, mental health has also been given a lot of priority by companies, by
Yes.
individuals, by groups.
Yes.
So what that means is that any product that comes from a preventive angle is able to help you feel better, feel more energetic, feel more happy on a daily basis
Yes.
by
Yes.
making some lifestyle changes, is bound to really grow massively in the next 5 years. So we
Sure.
expect our 5 years to be a really an explosive growth. I know that the slide mentions the return on investment to be around 530%, but in reality I expect more than 1,000% ROI going into
Great.
the year
Great.
6, year 7, just because of the scope that the industry offers and our product line offers.
Sure, sure. Yeah, so we have a very clear understanding that, in coming 2 to 3 years, we'll be reaching, will be, I mean, 529% is itself is a very huge when we look from year to
Yes.
year five. Great, Harish. So far, you have given us the best understanding so far to invest in healthcare as a industry. Let's go to the next slide. To take a few questions
Of
or
course.
to talk about the why people should partner with Bion, why it is to be considered as a good opportunity to invest. Yeah, so
Definitely.
why people think that Bion is the company or organization they should get collaborated with and get their returns, or what are the other factors with the help of which it makes it a successful model. Over to you again, Harish.
Definitely. So I think this slide acts as a very nice sum up of some of the previous points that we discussed,
Correct.
to take the top level highlights, right? Right now, we are able to, in India, on an everyday basis, partner with new doctors, partner with new clinics for clinical testing. If there is one profession where if somebody tells you something and you listen to it, that is the profession of healthcare. And, that is what we do with doctors when we visit them, when they
True.
tell you that, hey, do this because this is what we diagnose, we listen to them, right? So trust is one of the most important factors when it comes to healthcare. And if we are able to come out with more and more partnerships in the near future and show that this is the kind of trust that we have gained, right? These are the partnerships that we've gained. This makes us our brand very solid. Unlike the players in the market who probably have a product but don't have the partnerships or don't have that stamp of security and trust that come along, right? So this is why I think that Bione as a name will keep growing, and it can be more and more trusted as and when we go through more partnerships. And I definitely did mention a lot of points about the growth prospects, looking back at healthcare as an industry, looking back at preventive healthcare as a space, DNA and biome testing as concepts. The growth potential is really huge when it comes to the market growth. I mean, whether Bione at this point did this or we didn't do it also, the growth of the space is just nothing to be challenged about. It is going to be massive and it is going to be
Yes.
growing, right? The margins are quite attractive. I mean, in case you are interested to further deep delve into the model and what is the working and everything, you would come to know that uh, it's one of the best in the industry margins that we are able to do. I mean, pharmaceutical industry does have good margins just in general, and we are able to because we are at the initial stages, we are more agile company. We are able to be more aggressive with our margin based discounting system at this point, because the partners who join us right now are setting up the infrastructure, making it more stronger, so we are willing to be aggressive with our margin sharing with them. So the ease of operations is something that is really underrated. I mean, you really don't have to worry about anything back in your franchisee setup. It is a matter of people having an awareness, walking in. Once we have an in-house counselor which we can help you set up, it is going to be just about the concepts. It's going to be about the sample report which they can easily see. It is not going to be machinery heavy, right? There is
Yes.
no specific storage requirements, there's nothing. So it is just about the sample collection, which is very much happening in a very typical lab that you walk in right now. If you walk into any lab, you could give your blood, you could give your saliva. It's now a very common practice, right? And that is being sent back to the lab and the results are being sent. So ease of operations is very good. The marketing team, I do definitely want to mention that currently we have actively 16 people working in the marketing team across
Wow.
design, development, digital marketing, performance. So we are not a very new startup which is coming with one or two people. We do have our solid background of people who've been
Yes.
handpicked from different parts of the country to work along with us. So we are coming in with a very strong branding setup, right? So we will bring that force along, to in this journey with you, to because it's a win-win situation for us. If you are partnering as a franchisee, we want you to win so that we can win as a brand as well. So we will be bringing that full force of marketing behind that awareness and lead generation journey along with you, right? And support, we in this market right now with our current customers and the growing pool that we have, we are quite well known for support. Even to an extent that one of the benefits or one of the features that we heavily advertise when we do our DNA and microbiome test marketing is, we don't even limit our post counseling session. We don't even say that you are eligible for 2 sessions or 3 sessions. We leave it open. Like, there are customers for us who come back to us after 5 months, and then they still take a counseling session with us, to say that, hey, I followed these things, this happened or this did not happen, what can I do more? And we still do that. Our counselors and our CEO is very much open to discussing your possibilities. So yeah, our support will be 100% 24/7, and will be available through different channels to support you.
Sure. So there is a message for the viewers who are hearing to us and would like to ask more detail in regards to why you should collaborate to or to be partnered with Bayana as a franchisee, right? So all the detail, more detail in regards to the margin and the lead generation process, how it is ease of operations and how it is going to be the support structure from the organization. Please. Put your requirement. Please share your contact detail or the email address so that we can be in touch with you to talk further on the same. Let's go to the next slide.
Sure.
Yes, so highlight, I can see all the big names in terms of the media highlights what you have. So, what is your say on this, Harish? Please help me
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, sure. So, the reason why the media outlets do from time to time approach us and they want to cover a story or two with us, or take an interview with our, CEO or our lead scientist, is because we have a very novel concept that we are bringing into India, and we are taking that to our people, and to our masses, right? The consumer testing side of the DNA and microbiome is something that is gaining a lot of traction, and definitely the well respected media outlets do want to cover such a topic, and they are very keen to hear what are our plans going forward, how our growth looks like, how our journey looks like, what has been the
Sure.
feedback till now and the revenue till now. So I mean, we've been approached by, and in some cases we do approach, it works vice versa. It works both ways. So we've been approached by really big media outlets to talk about the importance of personalized testing and preventive healthcare in this growing healthcare space for India. And yeah, you can see, and you can see the logos there, and
Yes,
yeah,
Hindustan
yeah,
Times and then Business Today, India
yeah.
Met Today, all big name who have interviewed and talked about Bion.
Yeah, definitely. And from a lot of and that it is also because of the fact that there is a very credible science based approach here, right?
Yes,
That
yes,
is very important for coverage like this to happen, because
correct.
they're very keen and careful on what information that is published,
Yes, and it is
because
to
we are.
create awareness, so that's
Yes.
also correct.
Absolutely, because they are able to go back and see a report, sample report, see the genetic markers, see the microbiome profile, and this
Yes,
is why we are basing our results on, right? It is not out of guess, or it is not
yes,
out of
yes.
a need to give some suggestion. So it is very
Yes,
much personalized to you based on science, and they are very keen to sort of hear about that.
great, great, Harish. I have a few questions in my mind which I would like to get it clear during this live session. Yes, we in a way we discussed about that. How are we going to make money? And what is the break even point, right? The ROI. What is the anticipated ROI we look for to invest? Because of course it's being very very noble kind of a business to get into. But when somebody invests, they look for the returns. What are the timelines they have to consider to get their money back as a take home, right? And
Right.
then the profitability. So what is the anticipated ROI we look for, from
Definitely.
when somebody gets ready to take up your franchise.
Yeah. So, touching upon one of the points that I previously mentioned about how little initial investment this model currently takes, combining that with the fact that we are going to be putting in our marketing support in creating that awareness and creating those leads in the initial stages, and with conservative walk-in assumptions, a franchisee partner could start seeing break even with as little as 6 months,
Yes.
to 7 months, and these are conservative projections, right? And in case, if the in bigger metropolitan cities and in places where the assumptions are more aggressive than what we had assumed, right? The break even could even move in early by, like, 15 to 30 days even. So that is a,
Sure.
I we consider it a very decent time period to start seeing some returns on your initial investment that you're putting in. So
Sure.
yeah, that's
Sure.
where we are.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we have covered all the important information and the details which are very important from entrepreneur, the perspective in terms of the investment, in terms of the industry size, in terms of the potentiality of the industry. So please feel free to put any kind of a question since we are live, and then we would like to take up now. Yes. So let's summarize this session.
Sure. Are there any questions that need to be answered, or can I give a recap of
No, let me summarize then, and I will. I would
Sure.
want you to send a one, message to the prospect who and to the viewers who are joined us, and would like to hear from you.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yes, so yes, this is the contact detail wherein you can always visit franchisebazar.com to come to know about today's opportunity, and also to know more about other opportunity in the franchising industry. Just filter your requirement in terms of the industry you want to get into, the location you are have, and then what is the size of the income, or the whatever the question you have, you can always visit and filter on franchisebazar.com. You can always call us on the number which is flashing on the screen. It's 9844443200. Yes, Harish, a last message for the viewers, from the company side, from your side, any message to the viewers? Over to you.
Sure. Sure. So, Bion is right now in a very exciting journey to make people's lives better and people's lives more happier, right?
Yes.
While there is a mission and vision and a purpose for what we are doing, there is a real big commercial opportunity also that is sitting right and parallel in this journey as we stream up.
Sure.
Our revenue growth and our profit margins have been a good testimonial to that particular side of the commercial modeling as well. But on the side, as I mentioned, we are serving true to our vision that we are making every day, in every month, every year, we will make people's life even more better. So I really hope, and from behalf of Bion, we really hope that you will take one more step towards joining
Yes.
this journey with us and coming in and discussing on the table with us on how we could work it out. And we are sort of building that foundation that is going to now become the next unicorn. And would be a great opportunity for you to join in, and we would be very much, it would be our pleasure to have you in to discuss further on the details. So
Great.
thank you again for very much for tuning in to the session. And yeah, thanks Alka for organizing
Yes. Yes.
the
Yes.
webinar as well. Yeah,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for you to be a part of wonderful session. On this note, we are summarizing it. Thank you, everyone.
thank you. Thanks.